I wasted so many years trying to memorize chess opening theory, and it didn't help me to improve. In this video, I will tell you exactly what you need to do to start winning more chess games. I will demonstrate this here by playing a chess game against the 2200 rated chessbot. So first of all, for the opening stage, please follow my advice. Keep things very simple. We just want to put the pawn in the center, develop the pieces and castle. That is enough to reach 2000 rating. We don't need to memorize any opening theory. So I am just going to play pawn to d4, knight to f3, and I'm just looking for very normal moves. I basically just want to develop my pieces and I just want to castle. That is all I am looking for. So that is exactly what I am going to do here. Okay. And when you follow this, of course, we get into the middle game, and it is really in the middle game that I will teach you how you can play middle games so good that you will win most of your games. So first of all, the thing that we need to do in the middle game is every single time your opponent makes a move, you need to force yourself, literally force yourself to look at it. And if you play on PC, right click it, draw the arrows, so you force yourself to have a look at all the possibilities that that piece that they just moved has in the future. So I now see, okay, they are attacking a bunch of things, nothing really matters except the fact that they can take my bishop. And in general, my advice is don't give away a bishop for a knight unless you have some extra benefit, like maybe causing some damage in their pawn structure, maybe weakening their king. But if it's just an equal trade like this one here, we don't want to do that. So please save your bishops. I'm going to save my bishop by just dropping it back one square. And you might think this is strange, we are moving the same piece twice, but believe me, we need the bishops later in the game. So that is part of the strategy. And then here they go back. And this move by them doesn't really threaten anything. They are attacking a pawn in the center, but it is protected. And when their move doesn't really do anything that we need to deal with immediately, that is when you will have to go through my 4-step thinking system to find the best moves in the middle game. So the first thing we need to do is we need to look at every possible check we could do. We don't have any checks. Then we need to have a look at every possible capture we could do. We don't have any captures. Then we need to see if we have any attacks. So an attack would be attacking like a knight or a bishop with a pawn, maybe attacking a queen with a knight, trying to set up a checkmate, trying to set up a tactical pattern, something of that nature. To do this, you need to, of course, know which attacks, which checkmating patterns exists, which tactics. If you are unfamiliar with some of them, definitely go to pegasuschess.com, link in the description, where you have free courses on every tactic and every attack that you could possibly have. So here, I don't see anything. And then we come to a very important stage. Check, captures, attacks. If we don't have anything, then we go to the optimization stage. Optimization means we want to have a look at our pieces on the back rank and also at our e-pawn, d-pawn, and c-pawn. And these really are the ones that we want to move. So the first thing I'm going to do here is push pawn to c4. And the reason why I say these three are the pawns that we want to move is because these are the ones that fight for the center, and these are also the ones that when you move them, they help to get better squares for your other pieces. So that is why these are important. So I play pawn to c4, they play pawn to d5, and again I have to pause, I have to look, what are they doing? They are attacking a pawn, but it is protected, so everything is fine. So again, checks, captures, attacks, I don't see much. We have a capture in the center, but if it's just an equal trade, we won't play it. We are not going for equal trades. We are also not going for useless checks. So nothing here, which means we are in the optimization stage. So I will just put my knight here on c3. Okay, they attack the bishop, they attack our knight with their bishop. Okay, so again, I'm always looking at their move first before I do anything else. Is this a problem? Well, they can double our pawns, but from experience, I know that doubled pawns are only bad when they are isolated, meaning there are no pawns in the ranks to the left and the right of them, so the B and D ranks. But if this ends up doubled, that is fine, because that pawn will be supporting our center. So remember what I told you, if we can get a bishop for a knight, that is great. So no checks, no captures except still that useless capture, but we have an attack. We can attack the bishop with the pawn, they trade, we simply take with the pawn, and yes, we have double pawns, but as I have just explained, this is good for us. We want this because this is another pawn helping in the center. We basically have two c pawns, and ED and c pawns are our most important pawns. So that is great. They just castled, so Nothing much going on. So checks, no. Captures, yes. We have captures in the center. And before I said we don't do equal trades, remember, that's important. Here, I don't think this is an equal trade because we are trading a C pawn for a D pawn. And then in the future, we can follow up with our new C pawn. And basically, in the end, our B pawn, or quite useless B pawn, will have been traded for their very important E pawn. So right now, the capture is the right move. And if you go through my thinking system, you will always find the good moves. Because the checks, the captures, the attacks, they really are the good moves. And if we don't have anything, then it's time to optimize. So they put the knight on a5, they attack the pawn, it is attacked twice, it's only protected once, we have a problem, we have to fix something. Whenever I'm looking for a solution, I'm always considering the checks and the captures as well. Here we have a capture, it's a bit of an equal trade, you could say, but I don't think that is completely true, because first of all, it solves the problem. Second, look at this diagonal towards the king. This is looking very dangerous for black, and their queen is on the diagonal as well. If only I could place my bishop here, that would be game over, because then they would lose the queen. So we have to keep that in mind. So no checks, no captures, attacks. I'm looking, this could be a good attack, but it doesn't work. We could also attack the knight, we could attack this weak pawn, we have some ideas there. And I'm also looking at my optimization stage. What I will play here is bishop to d2, because this is optimization, we are getting a bishop into the game, and it's also attack, because I attack the knight. And my plan is to see if I can remove that knight maybe, to potentially set up that check that I showed you there in the future with the bishop to c4. They are just going in here, they are attacking my rook, so I need to figure out something that I can do to solve this. I think what I should do is probably just move my rook. They might be trading for the bishop. And now again, you might think, well, didn't you say we don't want to trade the bishops for the knights for no benefit? Yes, but here it's our opponent who is basically forcing so many moves with the knight. That knight made 1, 2, 3, 4 moves just to capture a quite useless bishop in that position. So black wasted a lot of time here, and we were able to remove the knight that was preventing us from playing for this tactic. Okay, bishop e6, I don't see anything going on with that. Yeah, I really don't know why they are playing this, so we don't have to worry about it. So why to move? Any checks? No. Any captures? Yes. We could blunder a rook if we wanted to. Any attacks? Well, I'm still looking at this attack, but it doesn't currently work. Okay, so I'm at the optimization stage. Optimization, always the same. Look at your back rank and see which piece you can improve. That rook was doing nothing, so I improved it by placing it here, and that was also an attack. We are attacking this pawn. Black moves the knight, very important. We pause, we select their piece. Okay, they are attacking us. We have to move the queen, and they are attacking f2. So maybe there will be like some sacrifice or tactic there. So I need to move the queen. I think honestly I could go anywhere as long as I am safe. I'm going to select this b2 square because this also helps me to set up further attack on this b7 pawn. And black is basically losing here because this pawn and this pawn, both of them are hanging. Both of them were attacked and they can only save one, so they chose to save this one. But that means they will be losing a pawn. We can just grab this pawn on b7 and that should be enough. I just want to use this strategy and get to a point where I am up material. And then when I am up material, I usually look to simplify the position and try to play for an endgame. So that is something to keep in mind. Okay, they move the queen here. I'm looking if there was a way to win another pawn. That would be a plan. We might be losing this pawn, but I think this still could be interesting. We take this and we could potentially capture the bishop with check, but we really have to calculate a little bit here because they could also capture our bishop maybe. They could maybe attack our queen. There is a lot of complicated things going on there. And since I have my attack anyways, what I am going to do here is first focus, as I said before, focused on their move first. What is this doing? It's attacking a bishop. We could play something complicated, like go for the captures, drop a bishop, try to do something. But all of those moves, they could be calculation mistakes. And please believe me, the simplest calculation is the calculation that you don't even need to do because you just avoided all of the problems from the beginning. So instead of doing some crazy calculation, which I might mess up, I will play rook b2, attack the queen, also protect our bishop, and that way I am in a good position. And if he had taken my pawn, which I thought was going to be his move, I can still take there on c6, and we are still just trading and everything was perfectly fine. Okay, knight here, what is it doing? It's attacking our queen, but we are also attacking their queen. So we could go for a take, the queen, take the queen, they take our queen, and then we just have to move the rook again, which is perfect. I am going to do that here because this is just a trade. And remember, we are up one pawn. We have one more pawn, so trading is good for us. But I don't want to lose the rook, so I'm very conscious of this. We need to move the rook. Well, let's just move here. We now have two rooks attacking that pawn, so we should definitely be able to try to win it. Okay, they put the bishop here, so they are attacking our knight. One of my plans was just to play bishop c4, and if they take, that's another exchange. I love exchanges. We are up material, and also I am helping here to potentially win that pawn. And here you also see that my strategy changes a little bit when I am winning. So when I am winning, when I am up material, I do look at every capture that is just an equal trade as well. Because every capture, I'm going to play another capture here. Every capture brings us closer to the endgame. And if you have more material than your opponent, an endgame really is what you need. Because it's in the endgame that your extra pawn, your extra knight, whatever, might be able to help you secure a promotion. So I'm looking, checks, no, captures, no, attacks, yes. We can attack this weak pawn. It's unprotected completely. There is no way that they can really save it. Unless maybe this very creative move that they play, rook to c8. Because of course, when I take the pawn, that would be quite terrible. I would be getting back rank mated, and it's never too late to blunder the game. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, my rook is safe. I'm going to fix that back rank mate. I don't want to be back rank mated. So that is perfectly fine here. Okay. One thing that I do need to say about this trading strategy when you are up material is that you have to be a little bit careful with this. If you are up only a single pawn, which is the case in this game, trading might lead to a drawish endgame with perfect defense by your opponent. So could I take this rook here? I think I could. And maybe I could even go for all of these exchanges. But the more exchanges that you make when you are up only a single pawn, the better you need to be at your endgame to actually convert to win and win this. If you are up more than a pawn, meaning two pawns or a piece, then definitely trading is the best option anyways. I am still going to trade, even though I just told you that it might be dangerous. The reason why is I know I am okay at the endgame, or I'm good at the endgame, some people would say. So I'm going to try to outplay my opponent in this endgame. Very important when you have an endgame like this is piece activity. So my knight is in the center of the board. Look at this. Look at the squares it's attacking. This is just an incredibly good knight here. Incredibly good knight. And also king activity. That's also very important. We also want to do this, basically a strategy to make our opponent's piece activity and king activity worse. So this takes away a square from the king. This takes away a square from the knight. And if they go here, now we simply have the question, can we trade that, or is that pawn promoting? To do this, we can use the rule of the square, basically. So you can take, and the moment that the pawn gets there, we need to draw a square, which is going to be 3 squares down, because the pawn will be here. 3 squares to the right, up, and then basically this is a square that we can draw. The moment that we take that, and that the pawn gets there, that will be the square of the pawn. And as long as our king can get into the square on our turn, we can catch the pawn in time. It will not be able to promote. So if I ever ask you the question, could you trade here? The answer is yes. Because the moment we trade, we can draw that square on the board, and basically our king is in time. We can just, I'm going to trade it here. Our king is just in time to go and catch that pawn. Barely, it's just in time. Literally, we don't have a single move to spare, but we are in time. I can maneuver, and we will be able to get to this point with king to c3. Okay. And now you might be thinking, well, that's good and all, but now we just have a king and pawn endgame. Yes, for sure, this is a king and pawn endgame, but we are up a pawn, and when you are up a pawn in an endgame like this, you will win the endgame. unless if you make some very huge endgame blunders. The endgame principle that we need here to win is the idea of zugzwang, or at least that's what I am going to try to use, the idea of zugzwang. Zugzwang means that our opponent doesn't have a single legal move left that doesn't lose them the game. So what I want is I want to force them to move the king, because when they move the king, I grab the free pawn. Then I have 2 pawns and it's super easy, and this pawn can promote. So that's my goal. So I want to get them in zugzwang. To get your opponent in zugzwang, you need to try to limit their moves, and you also need to try to save tempi, which means instead of immediately pushing that pawn twice, I pushed it once, because that gives me more flexibility. They even made a mistake, I think, with pushing twice, because they gave up 2 potential moves. They could have moved that pawn twice. And I think here, there are a couple of things I could do to win. I think g3 probably wins the game on the spot. Because when I play g3, look at this. If they push the pawn, they lose. If they push the pawn, we get to this point, where I can give a check and then take, but that's probably not the ideal thing. And I think if they push this, this is also a very obvious zugzwang situation where we will be able to win. But I don't like those a whole lot. I'm going to look actually at g4. So if we play g4 and they push, while we have a second runner, so that would be terrible. So they pretty much need to take, take. And I think this is the perfect example of zugzwang, because they barely have any moves, and they will always be losing there. I think this is what we are going to see in the game. So let's just go for this. I do have to watch out I don't take with the h-pawn actually. If I take with the h-pawn, they have a runner and they are promoting. So had to be a little bit careful there that we still don't play on autopilot and we still think a little bit. Okay, and then I was about to say there were 2 options here. If they play a6, I play a5, and then this is literally zugzwang. They don't have a move, they have to move the king and I win the pawn. Here, they are the ones to put us in zugzwang, but since we have the extra pawn, we can push with a check, they take, we can take this, and we will be the first to promote. How do I know that? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 1, take, 2, move, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yes, most definitely, we will be the first to promote. That is why he realizes it, and he's trying to backtrack and basically see if he can get closer with the king, but it won't be enough. We are just going to move and push, and basically there is nothing that they can do, and we will be able to make a queen there. Now that we are up a queen, I think this endgame should be super easy. First of all, with the queen, you can literally pick up all of their pawns, and then there is a very easy checkmate you can do with queen and king. Or what you can also do is you can literally go and you can make a second piece like a rook or a queen, and then you can simply do a ladder checkmate. So this, and then they have to go to the edge of the board. This rook is a checkmate. So please try out this strategy in your next game and drop a comment to let me know how it went.